Another important landmark in the outskirts of Jerusalem is the Church of the Visitation, also located in Am Karim, Jerusalem. The Church of the Visitation is a Catholic church, and it commemorates the visit of the Blessed Virgin Mary to her cousin Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist. The Bible states that Mary went to a town in the hill country of Judea. Thus, the construction of the first church in Am Karim to Empress Helena of Constantinople, Constantine's mother, who identified the site as the home of John's father, Zachary. During the Crusader period, they erected two main churches in Am Karim, the precursors of what are today the Church of St. John the Baptist and the Church of the Visitation. The Church of the Visitation is a two-story church dedicated to the meeting between Elizabeth and Mary over the ancient ruins which archaeologists found to be Byzantine chapel over which later the churches were erected. Mary's visit to Elizabeth concludes with a song of thanksgiving for the privilege that God had given her in asking her to be the mother of the Messiah. This is the site where tradition says that Mary recited her song of praise, the Magnificat, one of the most ancient Marian hymns. The courtyard contains a statue of Mary and Elizabeth, and on the wall are 42 ceramic tablets bearing the verses of the Magnificat in many different languages. The lower church contains a crypt with a wellhead from which Elizabeth and her infant drank. Also preserved are the remains of the ancient church and beautiful mosaic floors. The rock with a cleft next to the entrance of the medieval crypt is said to mark the site where the mountain opened up to hide Elizabeth and the infant John from Herod's soldiers. This is the rock of concealment. The interior of the lower church holds Italianate frescoes depicting Zachary at the altar of the Lord, the Visitation, and Elizabeth hiding her son during the massacre of the innocents. The purpose of the Blessed Virgin Mary's visit was to bring divine grace to both Elizabeth and her unborn child. Even though he was still in his mother's womb, John became aware of the presence of Christ. He leapt for joy as he was cleansed from original sin and filled with divine grace. On our way to the Mount of Olives, we had a panoramic view across the holy city of Jerusalem. From this elevated point of view, We have the ancient Jewish cemetery beneath us, and beyond that is the old city with the shining dome of the rock on the Temple Mount. The walls of Jerusalem surround the old city of Jerusalem. It is approximately 1 square kilometers. The wall contains 34 watchtowers and 7 main gates open for traffic, with 2 minor gates reopened by the archaeologists. In 1981, the Jerusalem walls were added along with the Old City of Jerusalem to the UNESCO World Heritage Site lists. They came to a place named Gethsemane, and he took with him Peter and James and John, and began to be very distressed and troubled. He said to them, "My soul is deeply grieved to the point of death. Remain here and keep watch." And he went a little beyond them and fell to the ground and began to pray, "Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. Remove this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will." Gethsemane is a garden at the foot of Mount Olives in Jerusalem, where according to the 4 Gospels of the New Testament, Jesus Christ underwent the agony in the garden and was arrested before his crucifixion. Sitting outside the city walls of Jerusalem, the garden is a sacred destination for Christian pilgrims because it is here where Jesus prayed his last prayer. The Church of All Nations, also known as the Basilica of the Agony, is a Roman Catholic church located next to the Garden of Gethsemane. It enshrines a section of bedrock where Jesus is said to have prayed before his arrest. The Shepherd's Field Chapel, or the Sanctuary of the Gloria in Excelsis Deo, dedicated to Our Lady of Fatima and Saint Teresa of Lisieux, is a Roman Catholic religious building in the area of Beit Shahor, southeast of Bethlehem in the West Bank in Palestine. The chapel marks the place where, according to tradition, angels announced the birth of Christ. Nestling in the slopes east of Bethlehem, about a mile from the Church of Nativity, the Shepherd's Field is where the angel first announced on Jesus' birth to the shepherds. There were shepherds taking care of their flocks at night. An angel appeared to them and told them not to be afraid as he brought good news. This very day, in David's town, your Savior was born, Christ the Lord. They would find the baby wrapped in cloth, lying in a manger.
are at the edge of the desert. When I say edge of the desert, it means people, nomads, shepherds, they used to find a cave. They would stay overnight, 1 night, 2 nights. If they have food for the animals, fine. They can stay for a week or a month. If they don't have water, they can stay for too long more. Until this will be finished, they transfer themselves. But those shepherds who stayed here, we believe that they were not nomads at all. They stayed here. And what we have here, it's a natural cave, but this cave, it is similar like the cave where Jesus was born. It's in Bethlehem. He wasn't born here, but they are just giving us an idea about how this was a cave or a stable. Shepherds, when they used to come here and stay in these caves, if I imagine that this part, the whole part, is not here, it means that opening of the cave is wide.